These videos provide an introduction to Excel and Google Sheets. In this third video, I will cover formulas, or how to make your information do what you want it to do. In the next video, I'll introduce the Excel template that we use for financials. I encourage you to do these steps in either Excel or Google Sheets. We've talked a little bit about Excel functioning as a calculator. This means you can do very simple or very complicated math with large amounts of numbers. Let's look at two calculations you're likely to do a lot of in Excel. Addition. Say we have 3 apples and we purchase 7 more. We want to know how many apples we have in total. With a formula in Excel, you always start with an equal sign. That tells Excel you're doing math rather than writing out words. To add 2 numbers, you hit the equal sign and then type 3 plus 7, which Excel automatically will calculate as 10. The cell shows the number 10, but if we look in the formula bar, we'll see that original formula of equals 3 plus 7. You can add decimal points or change the format if you want to. Another thing you can do is multiply numbers. Say you sold 3 sandwiches this month, each for $7. You can calculate your total sales by multiplying the 2 numbers together. You begin by opening your formula with the equal sign, equals 3 times 7, using an asterisk as your times symbol, and hit enter. And Excel gives you the total sales of 21. If you want, you can add a $sign for formatting. Okay, we have a simple number list that we're going to work with. 4, 12, 17, and 23. Let's add these numbers up. We know that we're going to start our formula with an equal sign. One way you can find the sum is by clicking on each of the numbers and adding a plus sign between each one, then hitting enter when we've selected all 4. When you hit enter, the total is 56. Another way to find the sum without manually selecting each number, especially for cases where you have a lot more than 4 numbers, is by using the sum formula. Type equals sum, open parentheses, and then select the 4 numbers and hit enter. If you can't remember what the formula is, go to the Insert Function button to the left of your formula bar and type in a description of what you're trying to do, like add numbers, and it will suggest similar functions like sum. What if you want to know the average of those numbers? Doing this formula manually, you'd have to open your parentheses, add up each number, close your parentheses, divide by 4, and hit enter. You get an average of 14. But if you have a lot of numbers to average, you can use the average formula, which looks like this, equals average, select the numbers, hit enter, and you'll get the same result. Again, if you can't remember the name of the function, you can go up to the formula bar and search for a similar function like find the average or mean, and you will get suggested results like the average function. Now, if we want to multiply all these numbers by one another, we can do it manually using the asterisks as our multiplication sign. Once we hit enter, we get the result of 18,768. You can also multiply many numbers by one another using the product formula. So equals product, open parentheses, select all of our numbers, hit enter, and we get that same result. Make sure you begin by opening parentheses and ideally finish by closing parentheses. Why is this relevant? Why should you use Excel instead of just calculating numbers on a calculator and typing them in? Well, one really nice thing about Excel is that you can change numbers, and Excel will update all the formulas that use those numbers. In this case, we've been using the same number list, 4, 12, 17, 23. But maybe you realize after we've done all this math that we made a typo. We didn't mean to use 23. We meant to use 230. If we change just that one number, all the formulas that we've set up will update. If you had done all this on paper or a calculator, you need to go back and redo all your calculations, re-add, re-average, re-multiply. By changing 23 to 230, what we see is that all these numbers down here have adjusted. The sum is now 263. The average is now 65.75, and the product is now 187,680. You can change any number, and all the formulas will adjust. This is really nice because as you're doing your calculations or financials, you can update your numbers, change things over time, and have a better understanding of your estimates. Let's move to the worksheet titled Copying. We're using the same number list that we used on our formulas worksheet. There are a few ways that you can copy things in Excel. What if you know you want to use the same number list in multiple areas? Instead of retyping 4, 12, 17, and 23 over and over again, there's a simple way to copy numbers and paste them into another place. Using your mouse, select the cells that you'd like. So in this case, cells A2 down to A5. So all the cells are highlighted, and click on the copy button. These cells now have a dancing light around them to show them that the cells are ready to be used, in this case that they've been copied. We're going to click into cell C2, click Paste, and now we have a copy of what was in cells A2 through A5 in cells C2 through C5. Let's work off of cells C2 through C5 now. Select those cells and look for a little plus sign that pops up in the lower right-hand corner. If I pull and drag that over to the right, Excel will copy those numbers into the next column. So now I have the exact same number list in column D as well. Let's say I don't actually want the number list in column A at all. Instead, I want them in column E. This time, instead of copying the numbers, I'm going to cut the numbers and paste them into column E. So I select, I hit Cut, I move over to column E, and I click Paste. Notice that because I chose to cut the numbers instead of copying them, the numbers no longer exist in column A. They've been cut out and moved to column E. If Excel senses a pattern, particularly with date lists or numbers, it can replicate that pattern. Let's say you want a week's worth of dates. Right now we have March 28th, 2017 typed in there, but you want the whole week after that. Sure, you can go in and manually input each of the dates, but if you select that one cell, find the plus sign in the lower right-hand corner and drag that March 28th, 2017 date down, Excel will populate the following cells by adding one day to the original date. Excel assumes that you're looking to add consecutive dates afterwards. Now, if you want to do this a month at a time, let's look at another option. In this case, I've typed in April 1st, 2020 and May 1st, 2020. Will Excel know that we want the dates by month? If I select both of those dates and drag down with that little plus sign, Excel will autofill month by month. You can do this for other set amounts of times, like years. We can also do this with number lists. There's already a pattern in this number list. We have 1 and 2. So Excel is going to guess that the next number that we're looking for is 3. If we go ahead and select the two different cells and drag the plus sign down, Excel will populate 3, 4, and 5, going up by one number. Say we list only even numbers. Excel will guess from 2 and 4 that what we're looking for is 6 and 8 next. This is useful when you're trying to populate a long list of numbers that follow some kind of set pattern. If you have a list of numbers and you want to get rid of them altogether, you can hit the delete button. But this leaves a blank cell. What if you want all your remaining numbers to all be right next to each other? You can select the row or column that you want to be deleted and then go to the delete button in the cell section and select delete sheet rows to remove that row. The last thing we'll talk about is autofilling formulas. If you drag a formula, it will copy that same formula to the cells that you drag it into. Let's look at what's already in row 29. It's the sum of what's in cells A29 and B29, or 8. If you click in cell C29, you see that we used the equals sum formula. So equals the sum of A29 and B29. If you also want the sum in the rows below that, you can manually input that same sum formula in each row. You can copy and paste it, or you can move to the lower right-hand corner and drag that cell down, and it'll replicate the sum formula all the way down. If you change one of the numbers in any of the rows, the formula will update the sum of the row that you changed. So to summarize, Excel functions like a calculator, calculating simple but also very complex functions, allowing you to repeat functions multiple times fairly quickly and adjust as you change your numbers. In the final video, we'll introduce the financial template that we use in Excel.